Hey everyone, and welcome back to Fun to Motivate English. I'm Vincent, and I am so excited for today's deep dive. We're going to be exploring some seriously fascinating dating psychology, all from a really cool Chinese source.
That's right. I'm Jenny. Get ready to uncover some intriguing insights that could boost your confidence in relationships, starting today.
Think about it. What if you had 12 science-backed techniques to make that special, someone see you in a whole new light? That's what we're diving into today.
Exactly. And what I find so interesting about this particular source is that it combines these universal psychological principles with a unique cultural perspective. It really gets you thinking about how attraction works across different cultures.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The first technique is called the law of reciprocity. Now, I've heard of this before, but I've always thought of it more in a business context, like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. How does this apply to dating?
It's actually more subtle than that. It's not about blatant tit-for-tat exchanges. It's about creating a sense of connection and obligation through thoughtful gestures. Our source uses the example of giving chocolate on Valentine's Day. It's a small act of kindness, but it creates a sense of indebtedness in the recipient, making them more likely to reciprocate your feelings.
So it's not about buying someone's affection, but about showing genuine interest and making them feel special.
Exactly. It's about those little things that demonstrate you're paying attention and that you care. It could be as simple as remembering their favorite coffee order or offering to help them with a task.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It's like planting a seed of goodwill that can potentially blossom into something more.
Precisely. Now get ready for this next one because it's a bit more adventurous. It's called the suspension bridge effect.
Okay, that sounds intriguing. Does this involve actual suspension bridges? Because I'm not sure I'm brave enough for that.
No, don't worry. No actual bridges required. The idea is that doing thrilling or slightly scary activities together can actually amplify feelings of attraction. When your heart races, your brain can misinterpret that physiological response as being caused by the person you're with.
So taking your crush to a horror movie or on a roller coaster ride
Yeah.
could actually work in your favor. I never would have guessed that.
It sounds counterintuitive, right? But think about it. When you're experiencing something exciting or a bit frightening, you naturally seek comfort and reassurance. If you're with someone you find attractive, that feeling of closeness can intensify, and your brain might start associating those positive emotions with that person.
Wow, that's fascinating. So it's all about creating those shared moments of excitement
Yeah,
and then letting the brain do the rest.
exactly. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the primacy effect. This one is all about the importance of first impressions.
Okay, so this is why they say you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Precisely. Those initial judgments we form about someone tend to stick with us, even subconsciously. Our source emphasizes that making a strong, positive first impression is crucial, especially in the context of dating.
So what are some key things to keep in mind when trying to nail that first encounter?
Well, confidence is key. People are naturally drawn to those who seem comfortable in their own skin. Also, showing genuine interest in the other person, engaging in meaningful conversation, and highlighting your best qualities without being boastful can all contribute to a positive first impression.
So it's not just about looking good, it's about being authentic and engaging.
Absolutely. Now, this next technique is a bit more strategic. It's called the Windsor effect, and it's all about leveraging the power of third-party praise.
The Windsor effect, that sounds very regal. Fill me in on this one.
Well, it's based on the idea that people are more likely to believe positive things about you if they hear it from someone else, rather than directly from you. It's like having a trusted source vouch for your character and qualities.
So instead of bragging about myself, I should get my friends to sing my praises. That seems a little roundabout.
It's not about orchestrating fake compliments. It's more about creating opportunities for your crush to hear genuine praise about you from others. Imagine, for example, that your crush overhears your friends talking about how talented or kind you are. That positive information coming from a neutral source carries more weight than if you were to say it yourself.
That's a really clever approach. It's like social proof, but for dating.
Exactly. Now, building on that idea of creating a lasting impression, we have the rule of three.
Okay, I'm sensing a pattern here. 3 seems to be a magic number in dating psychology.
You're catching on. This rule emphasizes that the first 3 encounters with someone are crucial for solidifying a particular image of you in their mind. It's about consistency and building upon those initial interactions.
So it's not just about that first spark. It's about nurturing it and making sure it doesn't fizzle out.
Exactly. Each encounter should build upon the previous one, deepening the connection. and reinforcing the positive qualities you've displayed.
So what are the key elements of these three crucial encounters?
Well, the first encounter, as we discussed, is all about making a positive first impression. The second encounter should reinforce those positive qualities and show that you're consistent and genuine. And the third encounter, well, that's where things get a bit more bold and intentional. But we'll have to save that for part 2 of our deep dive.
Ooh, you're killing me with the suspense. I can't wait to find out what that bold move is.
Don't worry, we'll reveal all in the next part. But for now, let's move on to technique number 6. This one is all about choice, but with a clever psychological twist. It's called the double bind.
A double bind.
Yeah,
That sounds a bit intimidating, like I'm being tricked into something.
not at all. It's actually about giving someone a sense of control while subtly guiding them towards your desired outcome. Remember, people like to feel like they're making their own decisions.
So it's about framing choices in a way that benefits you. Give me an example. I'm intrigued.
Let's say you want to ask your crush out to dinner. Instead of simply asking, would you like to go out to dinner sometime? Which leaves them open to saying no. You could say something like, would you prefer Italian or Thai food on Friday night?
Ah, I see what you're doing there. By offering specific choices, you're already assuming they've said yes to the dinner date. It's a subtle way of influencing their decision.
Exactly. You're giving them the power to choose, but within a framework that you've set.
That's a pretty smooth move. I'll have to try that one.
I think you'll be surprised how effective it can be. Now, moving on to technique number 7, we have the gain-loss effect, which is all about being a bit unpredictable and keeping things interesting.
Okay, this sounds right up my alley. I'm all about keeping people on their toes.
This technique is based on the idea that a bit of contrast can actually amplify attraction. If you're constantly showering someone with compliments and attention, it can become predictable and lose its impact. But if you mix things up a bit, throw in a little playful teasing or a touch of mystery, it creates intrigue and anticipation.
So it's like a dance
Yeah.
with a bit of push and pull. You don't want to be too predictable or too aloof, right?
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between being attentive and giving them space to wonder about you. A little bit of uncertainty can actually fuel their desire to get closer to you.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like the saying, familiarity breeds contempt. A little bit of distance and mystery can keep things fresh and exciting. What's next on our list of secret dating techniques?
Welcome back to Fun and Motivate English, everyone. It's Jenny here, ready to continue our exploration of these fascinating dating techniques from our Chinese source.
And I'm Vincent, still buzzing from that last technique. Mixing a little playful teasing into the mix. That's definitely something I can get behind.
It can be a really effective way to create intrigue and keep things from getting too predictable. But before we get too carried away with playful teasing, let's delve into technique number 8, which focuses on building trust and dependence gradually. It's called starting small.
Okay, I'm picturing baby steps here. What exactly do we mean by starting small?
Think of it like this. You wouldn't ask someone to marry you on the first date, right? Well, maybe some people would, but generally speaking, you want to build up to that level of commitment. This technique is about gradually increasing the level of trust and reliance between you and the person you're interested in.
So instead of making a grand gesture or a bold declaration of love, we're talking about subtle, incremental steps that deepen the connection over time.
Exactly. Our source suggests starting with small, almost insignificant requests. It could be something as simple as borrowing a book or asking for directions.
Okay, so nothing too intimidating or pressure-filled, but how does asking for directions lead to, romantic attraction?
It's not about the specific request itself. It's about the principle of reciprocity and gradual escalation. When you ask someone for a small favor and they agree, it creates a subtle sense of obligation. They've done something for you, and psychologically, they're more likely to be receptive to future requests.
So it's like a gentle nudge in the right direction, building momentum towards a deeper connection.
Precisely. As the requests gradually increase in significance, so does the level of trust and interdependence between you. You're essentially creating a foundation for a stronger, more intimate relationship.
That's a really clever strategy. It's like building a house brick by brick rather than trying to construct the entire thing in one go.
Exactly. Speaking of subtle influences, let's move on to technique number 9, the mirroring effect.
Mirroring. Does this involve standing in front of a mirror together and practicing our best smiles? So I'm not sure my date would be too impressed with that.
No, not quite. Mirroring in this context refers to subtly mimicking the other person's body language and speech patterns.
Right, so if they lean in, I lean in. If they cross their legs, I cross mine. Won't that seem a little creepy?
It's not about blatant imitation. It's about subtle, almost subconscious mirroring. when done correctly. It creates a sense of harmony and connection. Our brains are wired to respond positively to people who seem similar to us.
So it's like saying, hey, I'm just like you, we're on the same wavelength, but without actually saying it out loud.
Exactly. It's a way of building rapport and creating a sense of familiarity without having to verbally express those feelings.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I had no idea that such a simple technique could have such a powerful effect. What's next on our list of psychological secrets?
This next one might be a favorite for all the foodies out there. It's called the lunch technique.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Does this involve strategically ordering extra fries to share?
It's actually a bit more nuanced than that. The lunch technique highlights the power of sharing a meal together in a pleasant setting.
So it's not just about the food itself, but about the shared experience of enjoying a meal together.
Exactly. Our source emphasizes that people tend to be more relaxed, open, and agreeable when they're enjoying a delicious meal in a comfortable environment.
That makes a lot of sense. I know I'm definitely more charming and witty after a good plate of pasta.
We all are. It's all about creating a positive association between you and those feelings of contentment and satisfaction. A romantic dinner date isn't just about the ambiance, it's about tapping into those primal feel-good instincts.
That's a brilliant insight. I'm definitely going to keep that in mind for my next date night. What's next on our agenda?
This next technique is all about creating lasting impressions, and it's called the peak end rule.
The peak end rule. Okay, you've definitely piqued my curiosity with that one.
Essentially, it means that the most memorable parts of an experience are the peak moment, the most exciting or enjoyable part, and the end.
So if I want my date to remember our time together fondly, I need to make sure both the highlight of the date and the very end are truly memorable.
Exactly. Think of it like a movie. You want a captivating climax and a satisfying ending that leaves the audience wanting more.
So if the highlight of the date is a breathtaking view or a hilarious shared moment, I need to make sure the ending is equally impactful. Maybe a thoughtful goodnight kiss or a heartfelt compliment.
You've got it. It's about leaving them with a positive final impression that lingers in their mind long after the date is over.
I'm starting to realize that there's so much more to dating than just showing up and hoping for the best. It's a delicate dance of psychology and strategic planning.
It certainly is. And speaking of strategic planning, let's move on to technique number 12, the Romeo and Juliet effect.
Okay, hold on a second. Romeo and Juliet. Are you suggesting we fake family feuds or stage elaborate balcony scenes to win our crush's heart? Because I'm not sure I'm cut out for that level of drama.
No. It's not about creating artificial drama, but rather understanding how external challenges can actually strengthen a bond.
So you're saying that a little bit of adversity can be good for a relationship? That seems counterintuitive.
Think about it. When you and your partner overcome obstacles together, whether it's disapproval from family or friends, long distance, or other external pressures, it can create a sense of us against the world. It makes your bond feel even stronger and more special.
So it's like forging a stronger connection through shared struggle and resilience.
Exactly.
Wow.
Overcoming challenges together can be incredibly bonding as long as those challenges aren't insurmountable or detrimental to the relationship itself.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. It's about finding that sweet spot between a bit of a healthy challenge and a solid foundation of trust and compatibility.
Exactly. Now remember that bold move I mentioned earlier, the one that comes into play during the third encounter?
Oh, yeah. I almost forgot about that cliffhanger. Fill me in. What's the big reveal?
Well, that's actually the 12th and final technique, and it's called the 3 times rule. It focuses specifically on these first 3 encounters and how to make them count, but I think we're just about out of time for this part of our deep dive.
Come on. Don't leave us hanging again.
Don't worry, we'll pick up right where we left off in the next part. We'll uncover the secrets of the 3 times rule and discuss how to apply all of these techniques to your own dating life.
Okay, you've got me hooked. I can't wait for part 3.
We'll be back soon, so be sure to tune in for the grand finale of our dating psychology deep dive.
Welcome back to Fun and Motivate English, everyone. It's Vincent here, finally ready to uncover the secrets of that 12th technique, the 3 times rule. I'm on the edge of my seat.
And I'm Jenny, excited to break down this final technique and wrap up our deep dive into these intriguing dating strategies.
So before we jump into the 3 times rule, let's quickly recap what we've learned so far. We've covered a lot of ground, from subtle gestures of reciprocity to the heart-pounding thrills of the suspension bridge effect.
We've talked about the importance of first impressions, the power of third-party praise, and the art of subtly influencing decisions.
And who could forget the mirroring effect and the strategic brilliance of the lunch technique? I'm starting to see dating in a whole new light.
It's fascinating, isn't it? There's so much more to attraction than meets the eye. Now, as promised, let's delve into that final technique, the three times rule.
Okay, lay on me. What's the secret sauce to making those first three encounters truly count?
Well, this rule is all about building a solid foundation for a potential relationship. By strategically navigating those initial interactions, the first encounter, as we've discussed, is all about making a positive first impression. You want to showcase your best qualities, engage in meaningful conversation, and leave them wanting more.
So nail that first date check. What about encounter number two?
The second encounter is all about reinforcing those positive qualities and showing consistency. You want to demonstrate that you're genuine, reliable, and that the spark they felt wasn't just a fluke.
So no disappearing acts or sudden personality changes between dates one and two.
Exactly. Consistency is key. Now, the third encounter is where things get really interesting. This is where our source suggests making a bold move to solidify your intentions.
Okay, the suspense is killing me. What exactly do we mean by a bold move? Should I be showing up with a boombox playing their favorite song?
Well, it doesn't have to be that dramatic. It's more about shifting the dynamic from casual dating to expressing a clear romantic interest. It could be a direct compliment, a heartfelt confession, or even a gentle, appropriate touch.
So no more playing it cool. Time to let your guard down and express your true feelings.
Exactly. By the third encounter, you should have a pretty good sense of whether the attraction is mutual. If it is, it's time to take a leap of faith and let them know how you truly feel.
Wow, that's a pretty strategic approach. It makes sense, though. It's like building up to a crescendo, making sure the timing is right before making your grand entrance.
Exactly. The three times rule combines all the previous techniques we've discussed, creating a framework for building attraction and connection over those crucial first three encounters.
It's like a masterclass in dating psychology. I feel like I've learned so much today.
Me too. It's a reminder that dating can be both an art and a science. There's a lot of psychology at play, but ultimately it's about being authentic, connecting with someone on a genuine level, and letting your true self shine through.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of dating psychology, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing is to remember that these techniques are just tools. They can be incredibly helpful, but they shouldn't be used to manipulate or deceive anyone. The foundation of any successful relationship is authenticity, respect, and genuine connection.
Couldn't agree more. These techniques can help you create opportunities and spark interest, but ultimately, it's your unique personality and the connection you build that will determine the long-term success of a relationship.
Well said. And on that note, we want to thank you all for joining us on this fascinating journey into the world of dating psychology.
We've had a blast exploring these techniques,
Huh?
and we hope you've gained some valuable insights along the way.
Remember, love is a journey, not a destination. So enjoy the ride, be authentic, and never be afraid to put yourself out there.
Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends who might be looking for a little dating boost.
And be sure to let us know in the comments which technique resonated with you the most. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Until next time, keep those conversations flowing and those connections strong.
See you soon.